Larry King starts, he's sitting in the studio like this, the camera goes on, it's just Larry King, direct the camera, and Larry says this. Have you ever in your adult life looked in the mirror and thought to yourself, wow, I thought I'd be further ahead by now. I'm gonna share with you today something that I call hook, story, close. Hook, story, CTA, call to action. Now that might sound like, ooh, what is that? Okay. It is breaking down when I looked at my best presentations, my best offers, the things that allowed me to serve people at the highest level, the things that allowed people to take action, because I can't help someone if they don't take action. Listen, when my last book, my previous book was Millionaire Success Habits, I had ads everywhere and they were just going nonstop. You may have seen them for years. And so many times I'd meet someone like, oh my God, Dean, if somebody reads the book, I get to change their life, right? And friends would be like, oh dude, I see your book ad everywhere. Do you think you're playing it too much? I'm like, what does that mean? Is there too many people that I should be trying to help? Like, what kind of thought process is that? Am I playing the ads too much? What person should I not help? That book, there's no way to get rich in that book overnight. That book is a compilation of what I've used over 30 years, my habits to start 13 companies, to be be married to the girl of my dreams, like everything I've done to get here after screwing up royally and making horrible mistakes. What are the habits I use to get there? Who doesn't need that book? Everybody does. So should I not market so much so some people don't get offended? Hell no. I can't serve someone. I can't help them with new habits unless they read the book. I'm going to push that book as hard as I can. We're probably there now. We're close to 1 million copies. I got to impact 1 million people's lives in a positive way because I pushed, not because I was like, oh, I'm just going to write this book. I'm going to write it and they will come. No, they won't. You go to Barnes & Noble, walk in the bookstore here in America, you walk in, you see hundreds of thousands of books, 80% of them don't sell over 100 copies. Take that thought process. You know how much time and effort and energy goes into writing a book? Oh my God, it's crazy. Okay, so now that we got the framework of knowing to sell, here's what it is. Hook, story, close. Now, let's break down, here, let's go to the whiteboard here. Let's break this down, and we're going to call this the hook. If you want a better word, this is your stop sign. Okay? So I'll go back over to that in a minute, Scott. But what most people do, so I'm going to have this through the lens of a video, right? So how many videos are you guys seeing on a regular basis? Every day. In your Facebook feed, in your Instagram feed, on YouTube, the ads pop up over and over. Some are annoying, right? The majority might be annoying, but some you watch for a second and you go, oh, I'm not going to click away on that one. I want to see what this one is. How do you become the hook? Is the stop sign. So take this analogy. You guys could put it in the chat. The analogy is, in a sea of black shirts, how are you the only one that's in a red shirt that you go, oh, why is that one different? I'm going to click on that. How, when someone's going through, I mean, I believe in today's world, look at my phone's an inch away. Like, you go to an airport and everybody's like, or swiping up. Like, this is like, kids in 100 years now, people are going to walk around like, what's wrong with your arm? Oh, it's just a habit. I don't know how to stop it, right? So people are going 100 miles an hour. How do you go like this? How when someone stops, you go, oh, wait, I'm going to watch this one. That's to me what the hook is. That's the grabber. That's the stop sign. And it's not about being cheesy. A hook, you ready for this? A hook is about entering conversations already going on in the mind of your future or current client. Write that down. The hook is about entering a conversation already going on in the mind of your client. You are entering where they are. You are talking about their goals, or you're talking about something they're afraid of. Okay? Again, could this be coworkers, boss, startup, scaling? We need to lean in and we need to know our clients. But isn't that pretty easy? We need to know what our clients' fears are, and we got to write those down. And we need to know what our clients' desires are. Write that down, right? You already know. Because in most cases, your client is probably you of 5 or 10 or 20 years ago and why you're a part of this company, right? Or started this company. So we need to enter conversations already going on in the mind of our clients. That's number one. Number two, write this down. I'm not here for any other reason but to serve you. This isn't something I dreamed up. This is 30 years at this. People buy from you and people will learn from you when they feel understood, not when they just understand you. People will buy from you, people will learn from you when they feel understood, not when they understand you. If you've ever watched a presentation of someone and you thought they were awesome, rock star, you're listening, you don't really take notes, and you get done and you're like, man, they're pretty cool. That was cool. Next speaker. But then all of a sudden, do you ever have a speaker go up on stage? Maybe you never heard of them before. And you're like, oh my God. And your pen cannot go fast enough. You're like, oh my God, yes. Oh my God, that's me. Oh my God, wait, could you say that again? Oh my God, can I get the replay of this? And your pen is flying and you can't go any faster. That person allowed you to feel understood. The first person allowed you to understand him or her. She was a badass. She did great things. Bravo. But you didn't change anything because you didn't feel like they got you. They were in a different field. They had different resources. They were different. But remember, when you feel understood, that's the person you want to do business with, right? That's the person that makes the difference. So the difference is, do you want to be the person that's understood by your clients, or do you want to be the person that makes your future clients feel understood? Live inside the mind of your prospect or future client. Answer their sentences. Let them feel understood. And you will win 1,000% of the time. Right? Think about that. So when it comes to the hook, this is where, for me, it's where most of my time goes. Because you see so many videos on the next part, we call it a hook story. So many people are good at the story. That's the most videos you see right now. You see people really good at their story about where they came from, how they got the experience, what they're doing, why they're great, why should you work at them. But you never see it because the first couple sentences didn't lock you in. It didn't go, oh, stop sign, brakes, I'm watching. That's why the hook is so important. I obsess over the hook. So I got to tell you a story. I got to tell you this story. I love all the chats. Thank you guys so much. I got to go back. Larry King, who just recently passed. He's someone who changed my life over a decade ago. Didn't know it. He was on TV. He was doing an interview with Joel Osteen. And Joel is there talking about his latest book. And they're going back and forth. And Joel was with his wife Victoria, and Larry King. And they're going back and forth. And Larry's interviewed, right? If you're young, maybe you don't know Larry King or the impact he had. Maybe you know him as an older guy, but this is a guy that interviewed everybody. Like, I think his first interview was Jesus, and he interviewed everybody since, right? I'm being silly, but he goes back to presidents before Reagan, and like every president, Gorbachev, Russia, like everybody, from anybody and everybody, from Madonna to Lady Gaga to all of them, Prince, some of the best interviews ever. Anyway, I digress. So I'm watching him interview Joel Osteen. And Joel's talking about his book, and Larry King looks at Joel Osteen and says, Joel, I'm Jewish. I don't believe Jesus is the Son of God. Am I going to hell? And I was like, oh, like I wanted to dive under the table. How does a Christian pastor answer that? I'm like, I don't like uncomfortableness either. So I'm like, oh my God. But at the same time, Joel had an amazing answer. He's like, Larry, I haven't, I'm not going to judge you. That's not my, and I'm sure some like hardcore Christians are like, no, you guys, but whatever. I didn't judge it and I'm not judging it now. I just remember, feeling my response was, oh my God, right this very moment. Could you imagine if Larry looked at the camera and said, gotta love Joel Osteen. If you'd like to get his new book, call the number below or go to the website below. Rather than back then, this is probably 12 years ago, maybe 13 years ago, people had to go, in most cases, drive to a store. Amazon wasn't what it is now. They had to like, okay, now I gotta go online or I gotta drive to a Borders or Barnes & Noble and go pick up the book. Could you imagine if it was just like, call the number below or click the link, go to the website below. Larry changed my life because it made me, I had a book out at the time that was just getting done on how to invest in a down real estate market, right? So I said, I'm going to do a Larry King-like show. I'm going to hire someone to interview me, and I'm going to just talk about how to shift your mindset and your principles and invest in real estate in the way down. And I'm going to do it just like that, a real interview, no teleprompters, no pre-scripted, just real. I did it, and that infomercial changed my life. My business quadrupled because people love the down and dirty real, right? So fast forward. Larry King doesn't know that interview changed my business, changed my life. 10 years, 12 years later, a mutual friend introduced Larry and I tell Larry King the whole story over dinner. He's telling me the most funny stories. He had me cracking up with his history in the world. And I said, do you want to do an infomercial together? He said, yes. How cool is that? I get to do an interview infomercial with Larry King on my new book, Millionaire Success Habits, right? I am stoked. I'm out of my mind excited. So why am I telling you this long story? I promise this is about teaching, right? Because I want to emphasize the power of the hook. So what do? I have Larry King interviewing me. I want to make it look just like his old shows. When he interviewed Madonna and Prince and Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton and every other president and all of it. And Larry King used to start off his shows by saying, tonight, I'm Larry King. I'm here with my guest, Madonna. And she's done and and tonight we're going to talk about her new album, So I transcribe that. I said, I'm going to make mine. I throw out everything I'm telling you about the hook. I throw out 20 years of experience of having the top infomercial and videos and all the things that I've been blessed to do in my life. I throw that all out the window. My ego takes over, and I want to make it like the other Larry King shows. So I write this hook, the open of Larry King. We built the Larry King set. We get the Larry King microphone. We get in the studio like this. And Larry King looks to the camera. I'm sitting with him. I'm a little nervous, all excited to do this interview with him. And Larry King looks at the camera and goes, tonight, I'm here with my guest, Dean Graziosi. He's a multiple New York Times best-selling author. He's done this, that, this. He's a multiple millionaire and multimillionaire, and he's this and that, and family man. And tonight we're going to talk about his new book, Millionaire Success Habits, and And we go on and we do this great rant, back and forth interview. I'm so stoked, this guy that changed my life. And I look up to him. I do this interview. We put it out. It's a bomb. Doesn't work. Doesn't convert. Amazing book. I'm like, what do you mean? How could this not work? So I try to tweak it and adjust it. And I'm looking at it and I can't figure it out. And then one day it hits me. And I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? The hook sucked. People, does anybody actually want to see an infomercial? No, right? So I have to be so compelling in that first sentence or two that it puts the brakes on. It's the stop sign. It's the red shirt amongst black shirts. It's the person who's scrolling 200 miles an hour that stops and goes, I'm watching this. And all of a sudden I looked at it and I'm like, duh, you fool. You did what everybody does. You went into your ego of, I've been in business for 37 years and I've done this and I've done that. No one cares. It's not about me. It's about you. It's about them. It's about getting them to stop so I can serve them and help them to get this book in their hands. I look at it, I'm like, duh. I leave the show exactly the same. But I asked Larry to fly back in. I got to do the first part of the show over. Would you do that, Larry? He's so sweet. He jumps on a plane. He comes to my studio. We sit down. And I changed the first 2 sentences of the infomercial. And it went on to be a monster, one of the biggest infomercial hits ever. And can I tell you the difference? First one, tonight, I'm here with my guest, Dean Graziosi. He's a multiple New York Times bestselling author, started 13 companies, he's a multimillionaire, good family man. Tonight, we're going to talk about his new book, How do you feel? Maybe you'd watch. Maybe like, who the hell is Dean Graziosi? Maybe you like me now. But if you didn't know me, you'd be like, who's this guy and who gives a crap, right? And I changed it to this. Larry King starts, he's sitting in the studio like this. The camera goes on, it's just Larry King, direct the camera. And Larry says this. Have you ever in your adult life looked in the mirror and thought to yourself, wow, I thought I'd be further ahead by now? Ha! If you have, you're not alone. Hi, I'm Larry King, and tonight I'm here with my guest, Dean Graziosi, and he's going to share the strategies that he's learned to cover that one thing, to make sure you lean into your full potential. And we're also going to talk about his book. Which one would you stop for? Would you stop for tonight, Dean Graziosi, or have you ever in your adult life? So let me ask you something. Did you feel that when I said it? Have you ever in your adult life looked in the mirror and thought to yourself, I should be doing more. I should be more. I should achieve more. Of course you have. We all have. That first sentence was the stop sign. It was the red shirt. It was the stop with the scrolling. That show went on to be a monster. But here's the part you got to understand. Nothing changed. The rest of the show didn't change. The price didn't change. The cover of my book didn't change. The number of pages in the book didn't change. The words on the pages didn't change. What changed? You want to know the power of the hook? The first 2 sentences of the infomercial. And that show ran for half a decade. I got to send Larry a check every month, right? So, what was the difference? It was the hook. So, how important is it? Insanely important. How much time should you spend on it? As enough time as possible. If you're building a website, the header of the website, the subject line, the compelling copy, the header, whatever you want to call it, you should have that same thought process. When someone lands at your website, what is the headline that makes them go, oh, I'm watching this video, I'm reading this, I'm making that phone call. That's how important it is in today's world of this. So, the first thing is the hook. So I hope that intrigued you to understand the hook, right? Now we get into the next part. I don't know why I'm writing this down. You could get this. If we have the hook, the next part is the story. So this is a framework, right? So if we have the hook and I stop you, now it's time to tell the story and just think through your logical evolution. If someone gets you to stop on a video, what do you want next? You better deliver now, brother or sister. What do you got, right? So if I stop you, stop sign, again, we're talking video, could be any mechanism, any delivery system. So it's the story. So what are the components of a powerful story? The first, and you guys could write these down to help everybody else, is your origin story. Why you? Why this business? How come you're qualified? Who the hell are you, right? We want to tell an origin story. So let me just share through the lens of, I'll use the book, Millionaire Success Habits, right? Let's share through that lens. Habits, people don't really want to change their habits, right? A lot of my friends said to me, don't name a book habits in it. I'm like, okay, I thought differently and thank God I stuck with my gut, right? So the story starts with my origin story. Why is Dean Graziosi qualified to write a book on how to be successful through habits? Come on. Like, this is how I look at it through my head. You want to know how I look at it? I think people are like skeptical. Like, what you got? Who is this guy? Never saw him. I saw him on an infomercial once. He looks too hypey. I saw him online once. He talks too fast. Something wrong with this guy. What do you got? Let me see. That's how I picture in my head, right? That's how I picture in my head, literally. And that's where my origin story comes through, right? For me, again, accordion. If it's a 2-hour training, it could be longer. If it's 5 minutes, it's shorter. But my origin story for that book is the truth. That's the easiest origin story in the world is nothing more than the truth. When I was a kid, I didn't have money. I wore hand-me-downs. I lived in a trailer park. Both my parents worked their asses off, for lack of a better word. My mom had 3 jobs. She cleaned houses, she cut hair, and she painted houses to make nothing, less than $100 a week. My mom always was struggling. My dad worked in a collision shop, painting cars, headaches, come home dirty every single night. Both my parents, they split when I was 3. It didn't matter whose house I was at. They always worried about money. They were always stressed, and they were always working their butts off for nothing. So at an early age, I was really lucky enough to realize that hard work has nothing to do with success. Then, as I look back, I wasn't 17 going, I'm going to find the habits of the most successful people in the world. I'm going to emulate them and be successful. No, I was just like, they're working really hard. They're not happy in their relationships, not happy in life, don't have money. And I was lucky enough to find a few people in my little town in upstate New York that were doing really well, but not just financially well, they just seemed happier. Joey Noto, Dominic Affuso, and Mark Miller, 3 people. 2 of them were 35, 40 years older than me. The other one was almost 50 years older than me. Mark Miller, who was in his 80s when I became his friend. And I just started learning that they handled life a little bit differently than I did, a little bit differently than my parents did. They made different choices. They looked at the glass half full. They focused on solutions. They didn't listen to the naysayers. They walked off the path. All these little things. right? They found a way to dig into what their purpose was. They didn't let their past or beliefs dictate their future. And I started learning these little things, and I started putting them in my life, and things started changing. And I knew they started changing when my dad was like getting upset with me on how I was making different choices and told me I was a dreamer and that people in our family don't have money like that and they're not successful like that. This is our future. And my mom was feeling the same uncomfortable, and I started shifting my habits. And as I shifted my habits, I shifted my life. And by the time I was 27 years old, I retired my mom. By the time I was in my early 30s, I retired my dad. Before 30, I was a millionaire. And I'm not saying, oh, I was a millionaire. I already had, and it wasn't overnight. No magic money machine. I literally had a tow truck company, a collision company, a collision repair company. I sold used cars. I had apartments, and I was building houses. By the time 27, I was worth over $1 million, taking care of people in my life by shifting my habits. Tony Robbins' course came in the middle of that, shifted my life as well. I tell that's the honest truth, absolutely. But I shifted my habits. Before I got Tony's course, I was already on my way of being successful, right? How? I shifted my habits. And if you think habits are difficult, so now, okay, first part, you guys feel that origin story? Hey, what's yours? Why are you with this company? Why should you get the promotion? If you're going to start the company, what's your origin story? If you're going to scale the company, what's the origin story of the company if it's not just you, right? After that is why this thing? Why this vehicle? So first is why I'm qualified. So if again, skeptical dude sitting there going, all right, this guy's kind of fast talking. Saw him on late night TV. I don't know. But he stopped me. I'll listen. And then I picture him sitting, I'm going, I hear a story. Story sounds pretty cool. But why habits? Why vegan? Why your coaching? Why helping with menopause? Why your restaurant? Why this vehicle? And what I said was we all have habits. Now, this is on the habits. If I was talking about Tony and I's company to help you with being in the knowledge industry with our KBB program and course, I would have a different reason why. Right? I'd have a different origin story. If it wasn't for Tony and shifting my mindset through self-education, I never would have changed my life. And self-education is the fastest way to go from where you are to where you want to be. Different origin story, different reason for that vehicle. Right now I'm talking about millionaire success habits, right? So I said, why habits? Because my mom and dad both had habits. And a lot of unsuccessful people, we all have habits, but they have habits that don't serve them. They don't serve a bigger future. They don't serve God. They don't serve the universe. And what I realized, that we all have habits, so all you have to do, and I used to do this all the time, is take the habits that you have that don't serve you and just knock them out of the way, and it builds room. And once there's room, you could replace them with the habits that could take you to another level. That's why habits are one of the most important things to shift in your life, to go to another level. To me, changing my beliefs is a habit. Focusing on solutions, it's a habit. All these things are habit, right? So now I gave you my origin story, and I told you why habits are so powerful. Making sense to everybody? So now, skeptical dude that was like, it's like, wow, this guy, habits. Yeah, but now this is the best one. You ready for this? This is the one. This next part of the story, and I hope you're taking notes on this, this next part of the story, they don't all have to be perfect, accordion, long or short. These are just the components of a good story. Right? The next is beliefs. We have to bust the limiting beliefs they have around using your product or not. We have to bust those beliefs. So, someone could say, negative dude, all right, you got me to stop. All right, I believe this guy's story. Oh, maybe habits. Then I think the next thing in his head's going to be, yeah, but I've tried this before. I'm not good at shifting habits. I tried to quit smoking. It took me 10 years. I try to quit surfing on the internet too much. Still can't do it. I'm not good with habits. This is stupid. I'm out. So I got to think through that lens. So we have to calculate what our prospective buyer in your industry, what are their beliefs around habits, being in the knowledge industry, going to Tony Robbins' next level, all of those things, right? We have to think through those beliefs. This is not manipulation when you know you could serve people at the highest level. Let me ask you again. Who right now, and let me know in the chat, who is really happy that you went to Tony's UPW? right? Who's glad that you took action? Who's glad that you're here right now learning this, right? If Tony didn't ethically get you to raise your hand, you'd be someplace else. You wouldn't have gotten this training. You wouldn't have been at UPW. You wouldn't have been on fire. So this is not about stacking manipulation. It's about serving at the highest level. It's the only way that woman could help other people with menopause and so many others. When you feel that way, this becomes your obsession. This becomes a desire, like, I get to help more people if I can truly understand them and crush those beliefs, because in most cases, those beliefs have already cost you and your future client way too much. Thank you for all the yeses coming in. Thank you for all of you guys who advanced and are going to business mastery or date with destiny or wealth or life mastery. Those of you that are in Tony Robbins' new inner circle, oh my God, I've been asking him to do that for a decade. He finally did it to make sure nobody's left behind. Oh my God, right? To me, it's like, thank you, Lord, because we get to serve more people. So if you know beliefs have held you back in the past, don't you think certain beliefs could hold back your prospective buyer or client from saying yes to you? But here's the crazy part. You already know what those could be. So why not address them in advance? So if you know that someone's going to say, yeah, I've tried stuff in the past, but it didn't work. Hey, listen, I know you've probably tried to shift your habits in the past that didn't work. But no one's given you a process the way I have to elegantly bump the old ones out and replace one at a time. And where you see results in it so fast and so powerfully, you're going to make that habit stick forever, right? If you're in the knowledge industry, it's like, I've been through stuff before, but who's going to listen to me? Oh, who's going to listen to you? You've gone through situations in your life. You've created experience. You've gotten a skill. You've overcome an obstacle. You went through a mess that can become your message. And somebody right now is starting on day one, and they're either going to go through it on their own and struggle and maybe fail, or you can share what lives in here, this asset. You can share the knowledge you have and help somebody go faster. And right now, that's one of the fastest growing industries in the world, heading towards $1 billion a day. How would you like to share what you know and help people at the same time? Enter an industry that's exponentially growing, right? What did I just do in those two things? I pre-thought what they're going to fear. I'm not an expert. Wrong, right? I don't have a following. Wrong, because in today's world, we can communicate with the exact people on social media that need exactly what it is we have to offer, right? So in this part of the story, it's about thinking what their beliefs are, their negative beliefs that could hold them back from saying yes, so you could serve them at the highest level, right? And it's about answering that question in advance. So again, I'm making up this fictitious dude that was like this, kind of pissed, questioning who this guy Dean is. And then he went, well, he kind of hooked me. I'll listen. Oh, I understand his story. Yeah, that habits thing seems pretty cool, but I don't know. I've tried. Oh, this is a different approach. Oh, he's thought through this. Oh, and then if you have successful students, or if you've had success, then you anchor it with a story. Let me tell you about the habits I shifted. When I saw my mom and dad struggling, I knew they had habits and that wasn't serving them. But I met these three amazing men who kind of took me under their wing, and I started to adapt their habits in my life. And I found myself being happier. I found myself closing deals. I found myself thinking completely different. I found myself retiring my mom at 27 and my dad by 31. I found myself making more money and be able to help others in my community and change my life. I found myself looking through a different lens when it came to relationships. And that's what habits have done for me. Or I gave these habits to so-and-so and I watched their life change. So we take them through this whole journey. And that's what the story is. They're the ingredients. That's the framework. Accordion. Super wide, condense it short. Little bullets, longer. Whatever it takes to deliver your message, this is how you get someone to stop, be intrigued, understand where you are, understand seeing themselves, have a vision of where they could go, how you get to teach this, or why you're qualified for the job or want to go to another level, right? You get to overcome their obstacles, you understand the vehicle. Now at this point, You stop them. They're intrigued. They listen. They know it's you. Why you? Why this vehicle? You overcame their obstacles. You gave them social proof. What are they ready for now? I'm in. What do I got to do? That's the next part. And that's the call to action. The CTA. This is, what do you want them to do next? Where do you want them to go? What do you want them to buy? You want them to follow you on social media? Do you want them to get your course, your training, your book, come to your restaurant, use your law firm, let you be the one to give them advice about accounting or investing? Whatever it is, this is the call to action that only comes after the hook, the story, and the CTA, the call to action. But I want to give you a little bonus today. Is you okay? You guys all right with getting a bonus? Right? You ready for a little bonus? Okay. The bonus is the bridge. The bonus is the bridge. The bridge is after you tell the story. After you tell the story and you're getting ready to make the offer, sometimes in our head, we start freaking out. Like, oh, I got to stop them. I got to tell the story. Again, remember, I'm going through the lens of a video. This could be on stage, on the phone, face to face, in your career, starting the business, scaling the business. This is all the same framework. I'm just giving you the framework today. But when you go from the story and all the fun stuff, who in here knew that it was fun? The story part seemed really fun, right? Give me a heck yes or a yes if the story part is really fun, right? Okay, that's really fun. But then you're like, ooh, I got to go to the offer now, the call to action, right? So I want to give you a little bridge, a little mechanism to keep your energy up, right? To know that going into the sales should be your most exciting part because that's the only way you can help them. Think about that, right? The only way Tony could serve you at the highest level is if you went to UPW. How does Tony continue to serve you? If you go to Date with Destiny, if you go to Business Mastery, if you go to Wealth or Life Mastery, if you're a part of Tony Robbins' Inner Circle, that's the only way Tony can keep the momentum. That's the only way that him and his company can serve you at the highest level. If you stop and quit, eventually what happens? If we're not climbing, we're sliding, right? So Tony's got to, and his company have to make a call to action if they want to help you continue your journey to reach your full potential. Tony would be doing you a disservice, a massive disservice, if he didn't have additional products and services. He can't do more. The guy does 4 days all out like nobody's business. Right now he's doing Business Mastery all out, morning to night, right? He can't do any more. But he would be doing you a disservice if he didn't get you there and you needed him, right? It's got to be the same with you. You have to have that same passion. But I want to give you a little cheat sheet. When you go between the story and the call to action, put a little bridge in there as a reminder to ramp up your enthusiasm, to be excited that you get to share. And let me give you an example of what a bridge is. Now, I've never said this one before, but this gives me a great analogy. So you get done with your story, your origin story, the vehicle, you overcome their obstacles, you tell some social proof stories or you show some, and now you say something along the lines of, oh my God, this has been so amazing to spend this time with you here today. And I wish we had way more time, but we don't. But I want to tell you, today, I was only able to share the tip of the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg. The rest of it lives underneath the water, and I want to share that with you. But the only way I can do that is if I give you decades of my time, condensing, as Tony says, decades into days. So I built this 7-step course on how to ethically sell anything in the world you possibly could sell. And I spent the last year compiling my best strategies. And I built a course to deliver to you today, and I can't wait to share it. Who'd like to have the entire course, right? Now, I'm not selling that course. I don't have it, and it's not for sale. But I want you to see that was the bridge. Like, everybody would say, heck yes, I'd love to be a part of this, right? Right? Another bridge could be simply this. Listen, from what I shared today, I hope I intrigued you to see how important selling is. Selling is service. And I don't know where you are in your business. I don't know where you are in starting the business. I don't know where you are in your career. But if you want to go from where you are in your career, your business, your startup, or the business that you want to scale, to where you want to be at the level you want to be, the thing missing from where you are to where you want to be is understanding sales and persuasion at the highest level possible. And I was able to share a lot today, but not all of it. That's why I spent the last 6 months, the last year, building the greatest course ever on how to ethically persuade someone from your heart and start or scale the business or rise up through the ranks in your business or your career. And I'd love to be able to share what I created today and show you how you can get enrolled. You're pulling back the curtain. You're not holding back anything. You're not, oh my God, I gotta sell. It's like, oh my God, I get to sell. I get to offer this product and service to you, right? That's the little bridge. Come over here. That's the little bridge that I wrote here that can allow you to go from your story to the offer without losing your enthusiasm or your confidence. You see what happens sometimes at this place is your confidence goes down or you lose your enthusiasm. The video goes flat. The stage presentation goes flat. The phone call goes flat. We want to create something here that you go, okay, it's time to deliver the whole next level. What's up? What's up? Hey, before you go, you need to watch these next few videos. They're absolute game changers. Hurry up and click right over here and watch them, and I'll see you there.